So the question becomes, how has China become the #2 transplant country in the world?
The place where every other country in the world gets its organs, not available to them. Where are these organs coming from?
Every day there are a dozen of people that are executed or killed for organs in China.
This is run by the state. This was murder, and it came from the state.
Yeah, state organs is certainly an accurate title for what happens to organ pillaging in China. It's done by the state, for the state, to the benefit of participants. And the secondary goal in it, if not the primary goal, is to get rid of so-called enemies of the party, the Falun Gong practitioners. The numbers grew so quickly from 92 to 99, 70 to 100 million by the government's own estimates. Its values, truth, compassion, and forbearance were out of sync with those of the Communist Party. So as you know, Jiang Zemin, the president of the country, head of the party, labeled it a cult and commenced a brutal persecution against its practitioners from mid-1999 to the present day.
Falun Gong values are quite real, and they're quite attractive. They actually represent a whole side of China which has been completely suppressed for many years. It's a side of China that most Westerners never see.
And we recognize that the practice of Falun Dafa, committed as it is to truth, compassion, and tolerance, is a spiritual, non-violent practice, and it is absolutely mind-boggling that this practice has been outlawed within the People's Republic of China.
The official line in terms of repression of Falun Gong of the party is bankrupt them financially, ruin their reputations, destroy them physically. So that the vilification is destroying their reputations, the organ transplants is destroying them physically. There's the physical examinations, the blood testing, the organ examination, which have no other explanation than suitability for transplant. That they had this endless supply of organs available on demand, and the only limit was capacity. And so what you saw after 2001 was this huge building boom. New beds, new wings, new hospitals focused on transplants. And so that the volume, when the system's operating at capacity, increased year by year.
Starting at the end of 1999, the number of transplants taking place just exploded. The military's making money off of it, the hospitals are making money off of it, the middlemen are making money off of it. And we talk about money, we're talking about a multi-million-dollar operation.
It was bringing in about $9 or $10 billion a year, this industrial transplant operation going on across China now.
Why have doctors been able to participate in this? Chinese government's way of governing makes it very clear that if you don't agree with their way of thinking, then you will soon feel the retribution. And the same thing for doctors. They follow orders. They're part of big medical structures, sometimes military hospitals. They follow orders, and if they don't follow orders, they may be killed, imprisoned, and there may be later consequences for their family. This fear that the government has generated works not only in the general population, but also with the doctors.
Any place anybody from China goes, they have to be confronted with this thing. You are killing your own citizens who do gentle exercises and who are non-violent, who are non-political, who believe in truth, compassion, forbearance, as the Falun Gong community does. You are killing these people for their organs. What outrageous behavior! Are you a civilized government? Are you worse than Hitler?
Because I've been a student of the Holocaust, I feel that to a certain extent what we're seeing is just a continuation of what we saw there in another form, which is the endless, bottomless depravity of human nature. I mean, there's no limit to the form of evil that people can sink.
There's a danger that we get onto a slippery slope, and then other countries which don't have the rule of law or don't have respect for human beings could end up doing the same thing. That's why it's got to be stopped with China, and we've got to draw the line in the sand with China on this issue.
This is one of the central tests of our time, and if we can get anything out of a tragedy like this, it is simply that the human species has no choice but to look as closely as it can at this form of genocide. This is a new form of genocide. It's using the most respected members of society to implement it, and for these reasons, we can't avoid this any longer.
Leader in the free world, including President Trump, needs to raise this, in this case with Xi Jinping, very directly and earnestly and with great belief that things can change for the better if we use the tools at our disposal.
And Jiang Zemin should be in front of the International Criminal Court, because he's the one, of course, that started it. And I would hope that the new president of China would realize that he should put some distance between, a lot of distance between himself and Jiang Zemin. And one excellent way of doing it would be to say this crime against humanity is going to stop now.
Very few people actually have heard about the situation, and those who hear about it, they just won't believe it. It's so awful, you can't imagine it's true. And my first reaction was that I was shocked too, and first thought, this just can't be true. This is so disgusting, so awful. Mankind can't be that mean. But then you get the facts, the numbers of people being murdered, and you see it's true. The regime in China is this awful. And when you realize this is true, you have to do something about it. So what we need to do is to put out the facts, to tell about what's happening in China, so more people gets aware of the situation.
What I'm suggesting you might do is sign the petition at the table here. The other possibility for you is to go onto a website called End Organ Pillaging. I'm sure you, like me, would want to let other people know this is going on, because ultimately we need to bring pressure on China to stop this atrocious activity.